Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Mitch, and I'm building a language learning app in Unity. I thought today what I would do is just do like a stream, I guess, where I've got some UI I need to hook up, and I thought I would just basically sit here for the next hour or so, do a little bit of coding, a little bit of wiring up, and just, yeah, you can just, I guess, have music on in the background if you want. I'm just going to leave no music on the stream and we can just work together, or you can just chill and hang out. I don't know how much talking I'll do. I might do a little bit. I'll probably just talk about what I'm doing at the time, but you can mute me if you want, or you can just have me on in the background and yeah, you can just hang out and do some work because I need to do some and I thought I'd just make a video. So yeah, let's take a look at what we're doing. All right, so yeah, I need to wire this up. That's what I need to do today. I've built some, I guess, not all of this is hooked up, but some of it is. We need to do page navigation. We've got some sub navigation here, switching between hiragana and katakana and kanji. None of these numbers are hooked up. The unlocking is done. But I guess if you're not familiar with what I'm doing, I'm building a language learning app where this is like the home screen, words and characters, the things that you're learning will appear on here. You pick the thing that you want to do, and then you'll be given like a game, or in this case, you're required to trace. So we'll just trace that. You've got like progression, so we're filling up these three things until you get to the next level. And then it disappears, and then eventually it'll come back over time using space repetition. And then as you complete one of those games, one of these little 3 squares will fill in. And so that's what we're going to hook up today, along with the other things. And then we've got settings, nothing interesting in there. But yeah, there are other game types as well. I've been making some devlogs as well if you want to see them on the channel. But yeah, let's get into the wiring up. All right, so what do we need to do? Progress screen. I think what I'll do first is I'll take a look at the page navigation. I want to be able to switch between hiragana and katakana, so maybe I'll tackle that first. So let's take a look at the scene. So these are called filter options. They've got buttons on them, but they don't have any scripts on them. If you've got any questions, by the way, just feel free to chuck them in the comments and I'll either address them in there or just address them in another video. I'm wondering if I eventually do these sort of things live as like a live stream, but I don't think many people are interested in these videos right now, so I think I'll just wait and see if there's demand for it. All right, so the first thing that we need to do really is get some link between, I guess, the button element and code. So let's get some scripts. Actually, progress controller. I'll talk a little bit about how I laid this stuff out as well while I'm going along. Let me keep my bearings. So got scripts, application UI, progress is the screen that we're working on. Excuse me. All right. So we want to call this filter option view. Following a little along on the, I guess, model view controller pattern. I've got my own sort of variation on it. Model view controller service. Let's just call it that for now. We can think of better names later. So we are going to populate this with a name. Just call that option name. Just stealing things. Namespace, go away. We don't want namespaces. We do not care. Let's make a function for the button call. So button clicked. Oh, I don't have my shortcuts. Let's just steal that. So this is a view class, so it won't have any shouldn't have any business logic in it. Sorry, bugs flying around me. So this is the option text. Going to set that. Jump back in. All right, we also need to make these into prefabs so that we can programmatically create them. But for now, let's just focus on getting the buttons. Where's my script? Oh, sorry. It sure does. All right, so now it should appear. Cool. Drag that on to that. Oops, I need to go to that. Button clicked. Let's just quickly do that for all three. So I'm going to add the script, drag it onto the onClick, choose the function call we want to make. Button clicked. All right, they're all looking the same. So now if we test it, we should get a log output. I know what I didn't do. I didn't hook the text to it. My mistake. So we expand this. This is now none. So that was what the error was. Because that log call was trying to reference it and it's not set to anything. Fair enough. Oops. Now, in Unity, you can actually encode look these up in the code so that you don't have to, I guess, go through and drag and drop everything. But I do not actually like that pattern. I actually prefer to have it disconnected and not have the code look up the element it needs to find. Just to have it, I think it's just because working with other people like artists and stuff, doing it all in code, you don't really get the flexibility. It breaks things easily when other people might move around elements and they're not able to fix it themselves. All right, so now hiragana, you clicked hiragana. They're all going to say the same because, yeah, no, that makes sense. But yeah, buttons are working. So now let's get them to take an action. Back to the code. Actually, let's make it programmatic. So let's get them into prefabs. So go to our heading group. Go down to our prefabs. Right, so I'm going to drag this over into the prefabs to make it a prefab. I'm going to delete these. So during runtime, we're just going to basically create these on the fly and fill out these because some languages will need them, some languages won't. All right, so we need something to control that. We have a controller. I want to have logic in the heading group that will have control over these three children and the stats bar. Let's have logic on all of them. So let's create another script. Go stats bar view. Oops. Let's add the script. I'm going to rename this the heading view. going to do is create another script. I fudged that. Called heading view. Let's just group this. Right, so I've mucked up the typing. You need that. That's by view, heading view. I'm going to have the heading view own the public view, because later on we're going to do a number of coordination between these views, and so I know that I'll want this structure. I can go directly from, I guess I'll have the controller make all of the business logic and update the views, but I don't want the progress controller to go straight to the stats bar view. I want the progress controller to pass on its knowledge to the heading view, and then the heading view will make decisions. So you got like this tree effect where you just pass information down. So they can just have the same name, whatever. And I'm going to make a populate with, just because that's the naming style I've been going with. And the stats bar. Wait, I've named this wrong. I'm not working on the stats bar, I'm working on the filter bar. I've confused myself. I don't know why I've got bar everywhere. I could probably get rid of that. Let's do that. Let's get rid of bar. Let's just call that filters. That's headings. Yeah, that'll do. And we're going to change this to navigation. Actually, change my mind. That's going to be heading view. That's going to be navigation. Filters, stats. Yep. So we've got a filter view, heading view, stats view, navigation view. So this stats view, we don't want to work in here right now. Heading is going to have the navigation view. It's going to have stats, but it's also going to have the filter. Oops. And now we need to hold the prefab. Heading, filter. Let's clean up the navigation view. That's fine. So the heading is built up of a navigation, a filter view, and a stats view. And the filter view has the option prefab that it will generate. Progress controller, they're just going to know about only one of them, which is the heading view. All right, let's connect them up in Unity. There's our three options. Progress controller is at the very top of the canvas. Drag that guy. So connect to that. It's got the wrong script. Filter view. Stats view. Let's just hook this up now. Cool. So the progress controller, which does all of the main thinking, talks to the heading view, and the heading view will refresh all of its children, and their children will make decisions for themselves. Cool. All right, let's go up to the top of the core tree, which is the progress controller. So the heading view, what happens? So progress controller, all right, let's, I guess, go through what happens in the scene in terms of events. So when this screen is loaded, the first call that's going to happen is going to be to the progress controller. I'm not going to go too down into like what boilerplate code I've created, but essentially the first call we'll see is on this on-scene enter. We'll get a context which will tell us about the, we'll know about the current language based on the game settings. This is just temporary code here to make it work. And we'll know to view the language set, which will be the hiragana. And then we'll go through and ask the language service for all of those language items. So each one of those characters you see on screen. And then we create little progress tiles that you saw there with the characters on them. Populate them with the character in the progress. And that's the end of that. So what we want is also to tell the heading view what language set we're working with, what language we're working with. And I currently don't have a way to programmatically look up what are the script, I guess the alphabets, well, they're not really alphabets, but the scripts that are associated with a language. So we might just hard code that now. So what we might do is to get the ball rolling, we'll just call populate with. And I'm not going to actually, yeah. We'll tell them this is the language set that's currently active. It's going to go in. So language set reference, that's my class for, how would I explain it? What part of the language you're looking at. So if we take a quick look at it, it will tell you, okay, the context of what we're looking at is we're looking at Japanese. The data type that this set refers to is going to be characters. Set type is going to be set to hiragana. That set name is probably not going to be set. It's just going to be null. There's no tags going to be associated with this one that's passed to the view, but that gives you, I guess, you can pass these sets around to be able to enable certain state of like, okay, I want to view all of the hiragana for Japanese, or this might switch to, I want to look at the kanji for Japanese characters, and I want to look at only the ones that have got these certain tags, or I want to look at the words that are, the data type is words, and it's Japanese words, and the set type might be, I want to look at all of the words that are associated with colors, or it's just a way of like filtering down the information that you're looking at. So we'll pass that into the heading view saying like this is the what we're going to be looking at on the progress screen. But we can only hard code it for now. So the filter view is also going to need to be made a call to populate it. And what we'll do is we'll pass that language set reference down. Right, what do we want to do? We want to create options on the prefab. My typing today, terrible. Let's say we want to create options with the prefab based on the language and the let's just say character sets we expect for the language. And we're going to hard code this for now. So what we'll end up doing is let's just steal this logic. Go to the filter view. we're going to want to instantiate this. What we also want to do is get a parent to attach to. Cool. Is it my typing or is it the keyboard? Why the scale is being done there. So we'll have a filter option view script on it that we want to get a hold of. Oops. And then we want to populate it with, say, like hiragana or katakana. Whoops. Don't care about the progress. Character is not relevant for us. To get this going, let's just populate it 3 times. So you got a basic loop. Increment I. That's going to set the text. All right, that will probably get us going. So before we dig ourselves too much of a hole, let's just wire this up. So that's the group. And there's your prefab. Please accept it. So let's see if we got it from the beginning. Heading view to filters, filters to option prefab, and to the group. All right, go back to boot up. So if all goes well, this should essentially automatically just create 3 things for us. And it did. Awesome. So we've got three filter options at the top here. They all click, they all say the same thing, which is fine. And they're all in an active state. So we want to wire that up as well. But if we decrease this to 2, save that, rerun it. Now we should only see 2 options. And we do. Easy. All right, I think I'm going to do that scaling. All right, so we know that this filter option view is going to have 2 states, active and inactive Well, I guess highlighted and not highlighted. Selected and not selected, I mean. So we've got an active view. And an inactive view. Is that what I'm calling it in the code? Yeah, inactive, active. So what we'll do is we'll just pass the boolean and say whether you're active or not. That will be easy enough to set active. And then our inactive view. Take the opposite effect by just putting a little exclamation mark, which will flip the ball to the other choice. So we pass true into there. Ring 3. So we know realistically with Japanese, we're going to want 3 options here. We're going to want hiragana, katakana, which is not, and the other option is kanji. Remember, I mean, I'm sorry, this code that I'm writing here is kind of Python-esque. So I know I can just quickly define things like this, but I don't know how to, can't remember how to do it in C#. C#'s a little bit rusty. Essentially, that's just like a, you can just do this is not the greatest. We're not going to do that. We know that we want that. We're going to hard code it. So we're not going to loop. We know how many we want. Just create a little quick helper method. to take this code. Put it in there. We don't need that return at all right now, but what we're going to do is just quickly create 3 of these. Obviously the final code is not going to look like this. I'm just sort of building more and more over time the sort of correct view of what it should be, but I'm trying to do it in a way where you don't go down the rabbit hole of building the perfect solution first time. You just get what you need running as it should be on the screen and then make it more dynamic as you need it. I find it just to be a bit more iterative, and then you can decide, okay, that's good enough for now, it's working, I can move on to something else that's more, requires more attention. The code will be a little bit messier, but you can sort of improve upon that over time. Why is this red? Expensive. I don't care if it's expensive. All right, so this is false. This is false. So the one that's going to be active on the screen is going to be hiragana. We know we're going to have to change this based on the information that's passed in with the populate with, because that would actually tell us which one of these 3 options is actually active. But we'll get to that when we want to. Create the option. Cool. All right, let's see if that's doing what we think it should. Got to wire that up though. So that's working. We can see that these other 2 options are grayed out. I haven't hooked up the inactive state to set the text. So the active one will be showing the right text name. So let's do that. Let's hook up the inactive. So this will be our active option text. I'm not going to go too crazy and make a inactive filter option view and active option view. I think I'll just directly hold onto the text. So what I could have done actually is just have 1 text node rather than 2, but 2 gives us the option of coloring them differently. Yep, so let's wire that up. No, I've forgotten something. We don't need that. There we go. And the inactive one. All right, so we should be getting somewhere now. There we go. Got the right names. Programmatically generating them. They got their clicks, which doesn't do anything. All right, let's wire up the clicks next to go back to the progress controller. The progress controller can then decide what to do. So effectively what I'm doing is when this button clicks, it's going to generate an event, and the controller is going to listen for those events and then decide what to do. So the children are not deciding what happens. They just get told to look a certain way and update themselves. And really all of the logic for the screen is going to live inside of this progress controller. So you can see we've got a back button here already been listened to. So let's just call this filter option clicked. We're going to need a function for it. So let's just say progress controller I heard, yeah. So this is an event system. This isn't Unity given to you. It's just a system that I created for myself. Cool. Yeah. So we're now listening for this filter option clicked event, and so now we need this button to trigger it. Oops. All right, let's just see if that works. So we should get 2 logs now. Yep. So the filter option view clicked, and then the progress controller was like, yep, I heard you. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get the option view to send some information as well. I've forgotten how to use these as well. All right, so we got some helpful syntax. So the event info we're going to pass to it is what are we going to pass to it? Let's just privately store that option name. Put an underscore so that we show that it's private. Oops. And then we can pass that. So to go to the controller, we're going to check the event arguments for that information. So we're going to get the key, which was the option. Okay, so it's going to return an object. And we just want it as a string. So let's just cast it. Let's just pass that into the log, not F. This is in Python. $sign. All right, so now we should get some context with that event, saying which one we actually clicked. I heard your hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Cool. So now those buttons should do something differently based on the information they pass through. So now what do we want to do? What I want to do is this logic, but with a different set. Go away, bug. So what I can do is I can pull all of this logic into a function and pass it the language set I want to populate this with. And so when I get this filter option pressed, I can be like, this is the option, generate the language set, and then pass it into a function that does all of this logic. That sounds good. So what are we going to call that? Can make it private for now, privateer. So let's just call it change content. That's a terrible name, but we'll think of another one later. I don't want to sit here spending 10 minutes thinking of a good name for it, which I'd probably do if I wasn't, not 10 minutes, but if I wasn't trying to make a video at the same time. I just want to keep moving. You need that. Yeah, naming is the hardest part of programming. You are also required to be here. So this is going to take in a language set reference. Let's just call it a language set. So when we enter the scene, we're going to change the content that's being shown. And we're also going to do that when a filter option is pressed. We're going to change the content. And we're going to determine what that is. So we can hard code that. Create a katakana version of that language set, which we'll come back to. What we also have to be mindful of is we've just created a whole bunch of children in the scene that are parented to this guy. So before we even do anything, what we want to do is to delete all of those children as humanely as possible. Let's just steal some code. Come on, I know I've done this somewhere before. All right, let's just go to the discovery controller. I know I would have done it somewhere in here. Maybe I did it in the trace editor. It's just my brain isn't working, so I'm just trying to take as much as I can from other code. Destroy, that's the word, not delete. So this is the code that we want. Go to the parent, get the children, delete them, destroy them. And what are we deleting? Character progress styles, destroy them all. So we're going to clear out the old characters. You're useless to us. Generate new characters. Some code separation, cool. Change content. And filter option pressed. Oops. So I've got these preset language set references. So you can see that this one is defined as like the Japanese characters of hiragana. And let's just make one for katakana. Because it's quite helpful. Then all we have to do here, copy and paste. I'm not going to do kanji because I don't actually have any kanji content currently. So what I might do is completely rip out that as an option. So if we go to the filter view, kanji, go away. Easy. All right, so let's review this. Enter the scene. Define the set that we want to look at when we first come in, which is going to be the hiragana. We're going to change the content that's on the screen. We're going to tell the heading view to populate. Yeah, we will want to do that again because this will be the new currently active one. So we'll want that to update itself. We're going to delete the old characters and then we're going to regenerate the characters that are seen on screen. And then when we click a filter option, we're going to pull out that filter option. Right now we're hard coding it and then we're going to change the content. It's going to go through and do that process again. All right, so that should It's not going to do anything currently, because when we go through and populate, these are not going to change. It will change what we see on screen, where we'll see katakana. So yeah, let's actually just see if that updates the content. I want to see that first. So if we click that, because yeah, this is going to the thing that's a bug we need to fix, and then that has cleared out the characters. But I think I've made the mistake in thinking we do have katakana content, and we don't. Interesting. All right, so we've got some things to fix. First, let's fix the populate with. Let's just go with destroying and recreating from scratch, and then we can make it better by just reusing what's already on screen and updating them, because we don't have to destroy every time. We kind of do with the characters, but with the filter options, we don't really have to. But for making things easy, we'll just delete them. So go to the parent. Let's just make this a little bit more generic. Cool, so that should fix that bug. And let's just go, let's make this work. So the set type is going to be filled with that string information. So if we go with set type, yeah, we can do that actually. Let's just do that. I'm just going to do basic string comparison. I was going to be like, oh, we could actually go get me the type of this language set ref, and if that type is equal to the hiragana set reference, then this will be active. So this achieves the same thing. It's just maybe the other way is nicer, but this way is quicker. Yeah, let's do that. All right, let's just see this working, and then we'll get the katakana content in there if that's easy enough. So we default to hiragana, go to katakana, so everything gets destroyed and remade, and it happens pretty quick so you don't notice it. But we don't have any katakana content right now, which we can fix, I think. If we go to hiragana, that's still hard-coded to be katakana, that's why that doesn't come back. So let's fix that, but that seems to be getting closer and closer. All right, so we need to go to the controller, and we need to now go real hard-codey. Let's go language set ref equal to null. And we're just going to use an if else, not a switch, because we've only got two options and we're going to be rewriting this code eventually. So if this option is equal to katakana, we're going to do that. Hard codey, but it gets us where we want to be. All right, let's see if that works. Go to katakana, back to hiragana, and it works. Look at that. All of the content's there. Relatively snappy, but it can definitely be improved. Right, how easy is it going to be to get katakana on the screen? I don't know if I've got the data. Okay, I don't have it on disk. It's probably sitting in Google Drive spreadsheets. I'll take a look and see how easy it is to get, otherwise we might just wrap this up. Okay, no, the content itself, well, let me just show you what I'm doing. So the data for the app, I have laid it out into spreadsheets. So this is all of the hiragana information. Sorry, that's really small. Let me just blow that up. So the problem that I have is this content. So this is hiragana. This will get, I guess, exported to CSV and will sit on disk, and then we'll click the import button and it'll generate all of this. The importing all works, and I had katakana stuff in the app before, but I obviously during some transition, this is the sort of old format of the data. You can see that the columns look a little bit different, and I moved away from these individual columns to like just a general tag system. So what I would have to do is I'd have to update all of this to then be in the new format, export it to CSV, import it in. We don't have any trace information as well. So I think what I'll do is I'll just call it there for now, and I'll do that offline just to make it a little bit easier. But yeah, maybe we'll just wrap this video up now. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. I hope you learned something. Maybe my style of development in Unity is a little bit different from other people. Probably as I do more videos of this, I'll explain, I guess, my thinking behind things, what my code looks like. And yeah, you can learn a little bit about how I operate, complain about how I operate if you want to, and teach me something. Because I don't work in this full time. I did professionally for a number of years, but that was many years ago. So yeah, thanks for watching, and come hang out again. Bye.